Not as old and bad as the hockey one.
There we go. I guess we're streaming.
Yawn.
Let me pause this biz and turn that biz off. Turn that biz up. Turn the Marantz on. Marantz. All right, we're good to go. File, new, multi-track session. 2016 1102. All right, that was an opening bit. I got a side opening bit. Guess I can save it for later. I did one of those clothing boxes and it was pretty good actually. All right. It's Wednesday, November 2nd, 2016. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is GeekNights. Tonight, the Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, except we're not actually going to talk about the Mr. Toad part. All right. Oh, there's already 3 people watching. Nice.
Wow, that's pretty sad. They got nothing better to do.
More and more people are watching, like, every time. Like, we had about 15 by the midpoint of the show last time. It was crazy.
Go watch baseball instead.
Baseball's not on yet.
What time is it?
It's 6:06. 6:06 p.m. Eastern.
And what time is the baseball?
Fuck if I know. Right now is when that press conference or whatever is going on, too. All right.
Press conference for what?
The Trump thing.
Who gives a shit?
I do.
Okay.
American democracy does. All right. So, Scott has some part season tickets to the Rangers, and he brought me along to
part season.
Yup. Rangers tickets are fucking expensive, kids. So, went to a game, and it was a good hockey game, all told. We shut out the St. Louis Blues. It was kind of awful for them. But what was notable is that during the game, they interrupted, like during a stoppage of play, to be like, hey, guys, guess what's going on in the World Series business?
They didn't interrupt. They do that all the time, and they do it during any play
Oh,
stoppage.
yeah, but the content of the interruption was notable because the second time they showed this, it was to show that the already ahead Cubs got a grand slam, and there was basically going to be a Game 7. It was only like the second inning.
I think it was the third inning, but yeah.
Inning?
You hit a grand slam in Game 6 of the World Series, and you're the team that's down. I mean, what? Team up or down?
Yup.
That's legendary.
Grand slams are not common anyway.
Legendary.
So, it's going to come down to a big game.
It's bad news either way, right? Bad news number one. It's like, yeah, the Cubs. I don't dislike the Cubs, and it's like it's going to be mad
I feel for them. I mean, I'm a Lions
It'll
fan.
Be way exciting if they win. The problem is that excitement will be short-lived. If you look, like the White Sox and the Red Sox recently, had similar, not quite as long droughts of winning, but like 70, 80, super long droughts and curses, and they broke those curses, and now that the curses are over, it's like, now it's meh. It's like your legend is gone. It's like if I was a Cubs fan, even if I was a Cubs fan, I'd almost want them to keep losing.
I can actually
to maintain this legend.
I can actually give a relevant bit of info on that situation, that sentiment, because remember when the Lions went winless?
Yeah, right? It's like, you know what?
No,
you can't have the Lions
I was
winning.
like, come on, win a game. So, like, win a game. Please win a game. But when there are only, like, 3 games left, I kind of didn't want them to win a game because if they lost every game but 1 or 2, that would just be a really shitty season and no one would talk about it again.
But yeah, the season the Lions won no games.
Going winless, that was legendary.
Legendary, right? It's like why would you just want to be boring and meh? So the Cubs, the only reason anyone cares about the Cubs at all is because
they're cursed.
They just don't win. If they suddenly win, it's just like, all right, you're just some other garbage bait. Who gives a fuck now?
I mean, look, back to the
problem
future
is if they were
making fun of the Cubs a long goddamn
if
time
they were
ago.
playing against any other team except maybe the Yankees, right? I would, just be like rooting against them. Like, no, keep losing. But they had to be playing the racist team. So it's like it's either the racist team wins or the legend dies. There's not a good result that can happen. But at least if the legend dies, we'll have a short-term good result of party time.
But if
long term, long and short term bad results.
But if the legend continues, I kind of want the curse of the Cubs to last another 100 years.
Sure,
that would be
but
a good.
at the expense of racist team winning.
Yeah, but that's a flash in the pan. That comes and goes. The racist team exists independent
My
of
hope
the rest
is
of the spectrum.
Right, I guess I can hope that if the racist team wins, that it'll be sort of like the eye of anti-racism Sauron upon them, and we can maybe get them to change their fucking team.
I don't think it will, though.
No.
I think that's gonna fester for a while.
There's at least a small chance, right? Because like when they have their little parade, there'll be people protesting. Hopefully, right? I can't go to Cleveland and do that, but someone else can.
Yeah. The thing is, it'll be overshadowed just by the presidential election and all that nonsense. I mean, the KKK just endorsed Trump officially, so
That should help you amplify the anti-racist
Except
message.
no, it seems to actually be mobilizing white supremacists to vote, and the election's looking close.
Well, good. Mobilize them so we can find them.
Yeah, but if he wins, then they're mobilized and they're kind of mainstream again.
Good. It'll be easy to get rid of them.
The only way it's easy to get rid of them.
They were
at
all
that point-
hiding all this time, and we couldn't do anything about it. Now they'll just be visible. If they come out with their white hoods, it's like, oh, there they are.
And what are you gonna do? Physically attack them?
I wouldn't really feel bad about bombing a KKK rally.
You heard it here first, folks.
I'm down with that.
See, I'll go a step back from that to the I hate Illinois Nazis situation.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm in a car and they're in the street, it's just gonna happen.
Yeah, but seriously, we're not gonna. This is not even though it's right before the election. We're not talking about politics tonight. But for fuck's sake, vote for Clinton. Jesus Christ! If you don't vote, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like I said, if you don't live in the U.S., then yeah, you get a pass.
I mean, also, I live in New York. It's like I'm gonna vote, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but not all. Some of you live in Pennsylvania or something, guys. I know at least one of you lives out
If
there.
you're if they're voting for Trump, they're not listening to Geek Nights.
No, but what about people
this is
who,
the problem I have. It's like, shut up on Twitter. There's no one following you who doesn't agree with you.
I know people. There are people who follow us and follow me who are either voting for Jill Stein because they're morons,
Okay, you're a moron.
voting for Gary Johnson because they're morons,
Moron.
or not voting or saying they won't vote because they're morons.
And they're following you?
Yeah.
And even with you tweeting 1,000 times a day, they haven't changed their mind.
Maybe. I'm trying to make them feel bad enough to actually vote.
But your tweeting isn't helping, so shut the fuck up.
How do you know? It might be.
Apparently, they haven't changed their mind yet after a year of you tweeting nonstop.
I've convinced people to change votes in the past. A small number of votes could matter. A couple hundred votes would have made Al Gore president.
All right. Anyway.
Sorry, Scott, you used to listen to Obama's podcast. You've fallen so far.
You've you've not learned your lesson. I learned, right? And I elevated above all that fray of garbage. Right? You're still down in the muck.
No, you're just trying to be you're just a hipster, and you're like, I'm above it.
I am above it.
Uh-huh.
I'm not poisoning my mind listening to people like Donald Trump talk like you are every day.
Okay. Anyway, you got any news?
I do have some great news, but I also have a geek bite because I'm paying attention to, good stuff in the world, right? So tiny news, very tiny news. There's a manga called, and get this, ready for this manga title? It's the best manga title ever. Delicious in Dungeon.
Now, I think we mentioned this briefly a while ago.
But anyway, it's licensed. It's going to come out in English for real, so I'm going to buy it.
If you're not sure what it is from the title, Delicious in Dungeon,
It's
the cover is a dude wearing fantasy armor and a backpack, and in the background there's an elf, and there's a dragon poking around the corner, and the dude has a sword, a cooking pot, and a spatula.
I mean, yeah, so it's cooking in a dungeon, but it's got recipes and stuff like that, right? It's a cooking manga that takes plus adventuring fantasy style. And you're probably thinking it's like, oh, I'll get a fantasy adventure where they fight the orcs, and then, when they stop to camp, we'll actually learn about cooking, like how to cook delicious food when camping. No. They cook fantasy food, like slime jerky. And I think at one point they take out a golem, and then they grow vegetables on the rocks of the golem. And then cook it, right? It's not real cooking. It's fantasy cooking also.
You're going to find out about if you can cook a slime and eat it. Now that's going to work out for you.
Like Null stew and shit like that. But it doesn't matter.
I feel like you can make an entire tabletop RPG based on this exact concept and nothing more.
They go into the detail of the recipes like they're real. And they probably could be real if you replace slime with some kind of jelly or something. But you get the idea. This manga's awesome. It's coming out, so buy it and read it. All right, so Geek Bite. I went to see... with Not Rim, because he was on the other side of the world. His movie, it came out and was translated and licensed and put out. I think you can still see it if you hurry up. Called Miss Hokusai. It's anime. Studio IG, which stands for Is Good.
Now, I'm curious what you think, because what you told me about the movie previously was it's pretty good, and you left it at that.
It's pretty good. It's not, I was expecting. So it's about, it's Miss Hokusai. It's about Hokusai, the big wave painting. It's his daughter, right? Who is a real person who we know limited information about. And there was a manga based on her life, somewhat mostly biographical, plus some fantasy-ness, right? And this movie is based on that manga. So it's very sort of like episodic in a way. There's like a few plot threads, and they really skip between them a lot, right? There's a plot thread of like the cute boy in town, and the plot thread of having to paint to make money, and it's like each of the different side, the plot thread of the even younger sister who's sick, right? There's all these little plots, and it sort of skips, scenes between them like very rapidly, right? And some of them don't get fully enough attention on them, and some of them get a lot of attention. And then there's a lot of like single episodes that don't really connect to anything else, but are really interesting, like the time they go, and there's this geisha who's like got a spirit in something, and they go to take a look at it so they can paint it or whatever, cool stuff like that happens. So the animation is awesome, and there's a lot of, beautiful scenes. The music, while good, I think is out of place. They play like rock music and stuff. Like right in the opening, it opens with rock music, and I'm just sort of like, normally that anachronistic music can work out, like Samurai Champloo, which plays the hip hop music.
Yep.
But for me, at least, it didn't fit. I was just like, it's not working for me. You should have done something.
Maybe you're just too primed by watching so much Japanese media that you expect more traditional soundtracks.
No, because I'm fine with Samurai Champloo or any other crazy soundtrack. I think just rock music did not. It's like, it's fine if you use the rock music and then you do stuff in the movie to fit with it, right? But they didn't, right? It was weird. It's an anime. It's a movie. It's not bad.
Oh, look, get your times and tickets in 3 theaters near Long Island City right now.
It's in the theaters in the U.S. in English. It's, medium widely distributed-ish. You can probably see it at the smaller movie theater near you. You might as well. Just don't go in and expecting like Satoshi Kon level, right? Or Mamoru Hosoda level or Makoto Shinkai level. It's like a level below that in terms of, how good a movie it is. So there you go.
So in a tiny news, and I'm not going to get too much into it because there aren't enough details to really know, but if you weren't aware, they're making a Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Okay.
And it appears
is it animated or live action or CG or a combination?
It is, and this is why I'm worried, a CG live action hybrid.
So there's going to be a CG Sonic running around in like the real world.
And I presume having sex with other Sonic the Hedgehogs.
And Dr. Robotnik's going to be like a guy in a costume.
And Tim Miller, the Deadpool director,
the guy who left the second Deadpool movie or got kicked out.
Yep. Is probably going to be directing it.
Okay, so he wanted to do a high budget Deadpool, and no one on Deadpool but him wanted that.
So I guess now they're going to do a high budget Sonic the Hedgehog.
Right, like I haven't seen any of these stupid superhero movies, but I read the news about him getting kicked off because it was on all the nerd news channels, right? So I guess he went to the high budget Sonic movie.
I guess this is partly because remember how Sailor Moon came out, because the Sailor Moon anniversaries, they had to do something, so they did Crystal. 25th anniversary of Sonic seems to be the reason.
Is Sega financing this movie?
Yeah, Sega seems to have a big part of it. Sony Pictures, Mars Animation Planet, a wholly owned Sega Sammy Holdings subsidiary.
So it's a Japanese thing.
Oh,
it's
God.
Sony and Sega, so it's Japanese.
It's the people who made the Captain Harlock CG animated film.
Oh, so it's a Japanese production.
Yeah.
It's not a Hollywood production.
But
they got
Miller,
a Hollywood guy to make it for them?
I guess I don't
know.
Maybe they're getting Sonic the Hedgehog has just got to be super Deadpool-y?
But I mean, if you tell me it's by the Harlock, now I know what we're sort of expecting, right? It's that kind of movie. It's not going to be like some widely distributed in the U.S. blockbuster kind of thing.
We'll see. The only thing I have to say about this, because we don't have enough information to really go deep, is that there hasn't been a good Sonic game since Sonic 2. Like, Sonic games are just not good. Maybe Sonic CD.
Sonic 3 with Sonic and Knuckles was still good.
Sonic games were never that good, though. And they've been really bad for a long time. I feel like Sonic movies and comics are the only way to salvage that character.
Well, Sonic
Like,
comics,
I would not even ever
you
try
don't
to make a
wanna
Sonic
read.
game again.
I could make a Sonic game. Great. I just make it just like Sonic 2, only longer.
But Sonic 2 wasn't even that good. It was
Sonic
only
2 is
okay.
a great game.
It was okay.
It's a great
It
game.
was an okay game.
What do you know?
I played it, but it wasn't that great. It was okay.
Let's see how good you are, Hattie. You probably suck at it.
I don't know if I
You
beat
probably
it.
don't, you just don't know how to appreciate that flavor of Sonic.
What, you got giant sprites, not a lot of view distance, simple maps you got to
It
semi-memorize.
had really clever scrolling, actually, the way it could, like, sort of, shift left and right and up and down a bit to put Sonic in different parts of the screen so you could see where you were going. If you're running really fast to the right, it would push Sonic over to the left so you could see more ahead of you.
Yeah, just Sonic wasn't fast enough.
Okay. It didn't have enough hyper processing.
But anyway, things of the day.
What was my thing of the
I'm
day?
not talking
Oh.
about the 2008 Lions series. So, what was my thing of the day?
I'll go my
Right.
thing of the day.
So this is a video. It's a short film. It appears it's from Russia, and it's and someone has titled it "Modern Software Development," and it is the saga of someone trying to plug a plug into an outlet that the plug cannot fit into, and the method by which they solve their problem. And it basically describes how Node.js development works today.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, this whole Node.js thing, I could go off on that.
Yeah,
Maybe that's our Monday episode.
that's a decent web frameworks.
Well, no,
Just Node?
Just why Node.js is garbage.
That's a good title. That's next Monday show.
So this is YouTube. I was gonna do one YouTube video from this channel, but I'm gonna just do the whole channel. The channel is Psychonomics. P5YCKONOMIXXX. All caps. And what this channel is? Do you remember there was like there was a YouTube channel where the guy was like dubbing over Transformers? It's like, Shockwave, you can't shoot for shit.
That is one of the funniest things that exists on the internet.
And there was also, I don't know if it was the same channel or the different one that had the X-Men. It was like, the Juggernaut was like, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Yep.
It was that. This is similar styling, but what this is basically redubbings, unofficial, obviously.
Created in trial version of Mavavi video editor.
Right, but that sort of gives it some charm, using the free video editor that adds the overlay of various things, mostly Thundercats and Xmon, in, the beautiful language of Jamaica. And this is really awesome, because Jamaica is awesome, and these are awesome things. And it's like, dude, you combine...
Oh my, the lyrics that they used in the opener are written out in the description.
Yeah, because for people who, can't understand what they're saying... Actually, I can understand it pretty well, but, other white people can't, right? So they need some help, right? And they understand that. They're trying to spread, the joy of their language to people through this nerdy medium. It's a noble endeavor, as well as an entertaining one.
Good stuff. So in the meta moment, the book club book is Rebecca.
Rebecca.
I'm going to read it real soon. We are going to be at GamerX.
Hooray.
Not this weekend.
Good.
Not next weekend. Is it next? I think it's the following weekend.
We're getting
It
close
is
to
next weekend. It's next weekend.
You're getting close to Thanksgiving. They're skipping
Yep.
too many weekends.
Next weekend, we will be at GamerX East in New York City, in Manhattan, talking about writing game rules. And otherwise, it's just a super awesome LGBT-focused and friendly
Our
gaming
panel's
con.
on Sunday, but the con is Saturday, Sunday.
Yep, you should go to
So,
both days.
I guess on Saturday we're playing games.
Yep,
Get
and
my
Sunday
game-
we're playing games.
I get my games together.
Otherwise, check us out. There it is. There's our thing. Up. Occasionally the site messes up, so it shows the speakers are DeCoster, Rim, &Quat, Brandon &Quat, and Scott Rubin. Good job, Shed.
Oh, Quat. I see.
Yep.
Their,
Quat.
their HTML element code.
Yep.
Yeah.
How do people still fuck up the quad? Like, how do you... I feel like that's the first thing you just make sure works on your website.
That happens because in their template, they're in their template rendering engine, they didn't tell it. That's probably in the database, and they didn't mark it as safe, so it's
Yep.
refusing to render it as HTML, and instead of it automatically put escape characters and all those things to make
Yep.
them render literally.
Anyway.
An amateur mistake.
We're also going to be at MagFest. We're doing, between me and Scott, between 5 and 7 panels. And otherwise, it's just 4 days of gaming and going hot and all that stuff. It's going to be good times.
Mm-hmm. Play some X-Mon.
Yep. Check out my YouTube channel and Scott's YouTube channel. We both got stuff going on.
6-player X-Mon.
I did read the Fishy story. It is on the Patreon if you want to hear the somewhat unnerving tale of Fishy.
Don't bother with that.
It's pretty good.
You don't need that.
All right. Ichabod Crane. Let's see. I got the Wikipedia. Here it is. The Adventures of Ichabod, 1949. So it was for Halloween, which happened to also be the anniversary of Geek Nights, 11 years running. We did the show, and we had a little party where we wanted to watch a horror-ish movie. So we watched Attack the Block, which most of the crew had not seen.
It was in my queue, and now it's added to the queue. So all you people who are like thinking Scott's queue is not a real thing,
Yep.
it's real.
It was the second time I've seen it. It's a
But-
pretty good movie. It's not perfect. It's got flaws.
I'm going to say that movie, it was a good movie. It was entertaining and enjoyable. But, again, I think that people hyped it up above
Who
what it
hyped
actually
it up?
was.
I remember most people said it's a pretty good horror movie.
Uh,
It's better than you expect.
No, people
Who?
such as Chase and others on the internet.
Chase will hype up what he ate for
Everyone who
breakfast.
told me about that movie was like, "Oh, it's fucking amazing." Oh
Chase
my God,
will tell
it's
you
so
that
good.
literally any movie is the greatest movie
I'm
ever.
just saying, many people's internet people.
Name another who.
People on
Who are
Twitter.
these people?
In general, the
in general, some people said.
the general sentiment about that movie
I
that
did
was
not
that
see
was
that
portrayed
anywhere.
to me is that it was like fucking incredible, and it was good.
I did not see that anywhere.
I would show it and promote it to others, but not so crazily.
I saw people saying it was pretty good, better than I expected, or hey, you should watch this. It's not the kind of movie you might think to watch.
Also, it wasn't the movie I was. I thought it was.
Yeah, you thought it was. I know what you were thinking because we're not going to spoil anything in it, but it escalates to the main sort of thread pretty much right away.
Yeah, I thought it was a different kind of movie.
Yeah. It's pretty good, though. I liked it, but we're not talking about that today because before that, in traditional sense, we watched a cartoon. And it was a cartoon that I have not seen.
That's what you gotta do when there's a movie coming on. You gotta watch the short cartoon before the movie.
Yeah. I have not seen this cartoon in its original full format since I was a little kid.
I may have or may not have.
I've only
I
seen-
remembered that it existed, but I don't remember if I had ever actually seen it in full at any point in my
I
life.
have definitely seen it
If
in
I
full.
did, I was so young, there was no way I could remember much of it other than vague imagery.
I remembered every single song. Who's that coming down the street? Are
I
they
saw
shovels
it.
Or are they feet?
I saw this
Ichabod
thing,
Crane.
what, 2 days ago?
Yep.
I don't remember any songs.
Really?
I remember.
Are they shovels or are they feet? Like, really? You can't remember that?
I remember it because you just said it. But if you had before you said that asked me to like name or sing any of the songs, I couldn't.
But I saw it more recently, like middle school, high school, as most kids today, I assume, see it, because Disney would take segments of their older cartoons and embed them in framing stories to make other shit later.
Right. So people don't realize this, but for a lot of the Disney shorts, like a lot of the legendary type ones that you think of, for example, my favorite, Mickey and the Beanstalk, right? It's like, okay, they made Mickey and the Beanstalk. Where did Mickey and the Beanstalk's pretty short, right? It's not a movie length. It's like, what, 15 minutes probably? I'm just guessing.
I don't know.
Right?
I'll
It's
look it
not
up.
long, right? So where they made this a long ass time ago, right? Like the early 20th century, when and where was it released? It's like it wasn't put on television. It's like they didn't have color TV then, right?
29 minutes.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like if you wanted to see Mickey and the Beanstalk, like you didn't go to the movie theater for 29 minutes, right? And buy a movie ticket, right? How was it released? It was released as part of this compilation thing called Fun and Fancy Free. You went and bought a ticket to go see Fun and Fancy Free at the movie theater, which was like multiple cartoons, probably like 2 or 3 of them. And in between the cartoons, there was like narration, live action, puppet show thing to sort of like tie it together somehow. And there's a reason no one watches it that way, because that shit is scary garbage, right? They just cut the cartoons out and release them on VHSs and on television and whatnot individually. But the narrator in Mickey and the Beanstalk is the narrator from Fun and Fancy Free. So these, this Ichabod, Mr. Crane, whatnot, was a similar situation where it was, you went to the movie theater, you bought a ticket, and you got multiple Disney shorts together.
The 11th Walt Disney theatrical animated feature,
Mm-hmm.
and is the last of the studio's package film era of the 40s,
Right.
following the Three Caballeros, which I'm a big fan of as a kid, at least.
Right, Three Caballeros.
Donald's trying to get his freak on with that girl.
Right, that's what they did before they had the full-length animated feature, right? Snow White style, right? Where it's like 90 minutes, one cartoon. Before then, it was the other kind, the package era. I guess that's what it's called according to Wikipedia.
Reception. I'm just looking around all the business because I didn't know anything about the history of this particular film.
Right. So anyway, it's the story of Sleepy Hollow, right? There's a dude, Ichabod Crane. He comes to town. He's the new school teacher in town. He's sort of a weird guy. The town is weird. And then, there's a headless horseman who gets shit cray with the Halloween action.
I saw this as a little kid, and my memories of it, I remembered all the songs, but it is interesting how different my perception of the story watching it as an adult is compared to as a kid. Because as a kid, it was just, fuck that bully guy. Ichabod Crane is totally the hero, and then he got murdered. I legit just assumed he got killed by that fucking dude.
Right. I mean, this...
Like, as a kid, I was aware that it wasn't really the Headless Horseman, that it was just that jerk.
Yeah.
And I was also aware that he probably killed Ichabod. That's what I thought.
So not remembering the cartoon very well, right? I'd been... most of my exposure to the Headless Horseman story was just people telling the story.
Yep. Brom Bones, my man.
And it was told, I'd not read it, like the original, and it was told to me in so many different ways that I didn't really have any clarity on what the real original story actually was, ever. Like, if you asked me before we watched it yesterday to, tell you the story of the Headless Horseman, I would have been like, there was a town, and this guy Ichabod Crane comes to town, and then there's an evil Headless Horseman haunting the town, and it fucks him up.
Wow.
Or, I might have even said, I was actually confused, I was like, is Ichabod, is he the horseman? And, I didn't, and he terrorizes the town to get revenge.
I feel like the Headless Horseman is a pretty standard and well-known Americana-like story.
Yeah, but it just, in my life, I wasn't told to me.
Granted, the
in
only
any
thing as a
way
kid
that I remember.
Like, this thing's like, near the sleepy town of Peekskill.
Yep.
Tarrytown, all that business. As a kid, I had no idea this was in New York. I literally never
That's the one thing I did know because I lived over it.
I never
relatively
even considered
close.
the idea that there was actually a Sleepy Hollow or anything. I didn't even
If Sleepy Hollow had been in Michigan, you wouldn't have felt that way.
No, but it was in some other fucking state, so it didn't exist.
Yeah, well, it existed for us.
But then when I started working in Yonkers, the first time I drove to work on my way home, I'm like, 9D, Sleepy Hollow, really? Is that the Sleepy Hollow? And I guess
Yes, it's the Sleepy Hollow. It's not just one of those places that renamed itself to be,
Yeah. So, yeah, watching this again as an adult, I really like it a lot.
Okay.
Because it's really funny as an adult watching this thing. Because Ichabod is kind of a, shithead.
There's not really any good people.
But Brom Bones...
Except the baker.
At first, Ichabod's a normal dude, and Brom Bones is, this awesome hero.
Mm-hmm.
He's just fine.
Yeah, they
he's
both
great.
start out as being really good. At the very beginning, Ichabod is he looks ugly and like a stick person, but he's got skills Sakamoto, right?
Yeah.
And the Bron Bone is like Gaston, but he's not an evil Gaston, at least at the very beginning.
No, I'm pretty sure.
He's just a badass dude in town.
Pretty sure that this takes place after Sleeping Beauty. We're pretty sure that almost every male in this village is one of Gaston's descendants.
Doesn't Sleeping Beauty take place in Europe?
I guess he must have made his way over here because seriously, there's 8 Gastons in this thing.
And also, wouldn't it be
and then one Uber Gaston.
Also, wouldn't it be a similar time period?
Yeah, sure.
Why does Sleeping Beauty happen? I mean, not Sleeping Beauty. Beauty and the Beast. Sleeping Beauty definitely happens way before.
Yeah.
That's like they're living in the
I'm
castle.
just saying that
and there's a
Brom
prince and
Bones
shit.
is definitely somehow related to Gaston.
They definitely have similar personalities
But
and appearances.
But basically, as an adult, just watching this, Ichabod's just educated. and
But
self-serving.
he's still a bad person.
He's not that bad though. He's self-serving.
He's not that bad, but yeah, he's not like
I
a
mean,
saint.
what? He's actually teaching those girls how to sing, and they all swoon over him just because he knows stuff.
But he's teaching them to swing because he wants them to swoon.
Hey, if you do
he's not teaching them to sing to actually spread cultures.
If you do a good thing for a bad reason, you still did a good thing.
That doesn't make you a good person, though.
Who cares if he's a good or bad person? He wasn't doing anything wrong.
We were just arguing about whether he's a good person or
the
not.
only
We weren't
bad
saying
thing he did is he stole that one pie. Otherwise, he
stole a lot of food.
But I think a lot
Also,
of
how did he eat so much and not get fat and be a stick figure?
Well, because he appears to be literally twice as tall as anyone in this town.
He was very tall, yeah.
When they're dancing. But meanwhile, Brom Bones, it seems fine. But then as soon as he wants to make it with that girl, then he turns into a giant shithead and proceeds to do a bunch of illegal and intimidating things. He tries to basically murder Ichabod Crane, and then he does murder Ichabod Crane.
Also, the girl seems to not. It's like if you're a kid watching it, you don't see carefully.
As a kid, I just assumed she likes Ichabod.
It seems
and
like
this
she
jerk's
likes
trying
it,
to ruin it.
But actually, she's just sort of using Ichabod to make the other dude jealous, and she just takes it too far. She could have had that dude anytime she wanted.
Yep.
But only an adult eyeball can see that happening.
But that's why her and Ichabod would actually be good for each other, because they're both just manipulating other people, and with his mad skills and her mad skills and her father's wealth, because when Ichabod's imagining
they
could have
run that shit.
He keeps imagining like, ooh, I'll make out with her. But then he imagines like it shows her dad sitting there, and he imagines himself wearing all the dad stuff. And our friend Judith is just like, one day I'll be you. But they would have made a good team, and I wonder if she was feeling that too.
Maybe.
Because she was a little bit disdainful of Brom Bones' rough and uneducated ways, but I guess she ended up marrying him, so.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Ichabod's dead.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure they show you this like denouement where like we heard rumors that he went off and married some woman and has all these kids that look just like him, but those are just rumors. I'm pretty sure Brom Bones just fucking killed him, because in the actual chase segment, he's
swinging a sword at him violently.
And we know from an earlier scene that sword is sharp as fuck.
And it's surprising like how much he swings it without actually hitting him. But here's the thing. If he did kill him, he wasn't smart, Bombone, right? So
no, he left the pumpkin there so that the townsfolk would assume that the Headless Horseman had driven him away, when really he's buried in a shallow grave right off the side of that road.
That's what I'm saying. Where is this body? Right? He's not good at hiding the body. It would have been found.
I don't think it would have been found. Who's going to go looking for a body?
If you put it in a shallow grave, they're going to smell it.
Nah, probably not. I mean,
on that well-traveled road?
That road looked the opposite of well-traveled.
It had a bridge on it, therefore it had to have some amount of travel.
He had all night, too. Like, who's looking for him? He could have done anything with it.
Also, apparently you need to go on that road to get from the party barn to the town. Because I guess they have their parties way outside town.
You know what? It's right by the water. Maybe he just threw the body in the river and it floated away.
Maybe.
Town downstream's not going to be like, hey, is this your body? They're just going to ignore it or bury it themselves. They don't care. I mean, maybe it goes into the Hudson. I mean, look at where this place is. It's going to end up in, like, New York, that body.
All I'm going to say is, the baker is the best person in this whole...
I forgot about all the other girls in this thing.
The singing ones?
Yeah, because...
Well, because they get so much screen time right at the very beginning, and then they're gone.
Except the chubby girl, who's cute, who comes back and is a major weapon that is used between the two guys.
But she can't dance.
Yeah. I love how in the background her sound effect is just woo, 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 woo.
Yeah, no one in this whole thing talks. There's no voice acting.
It's just Bing Crosby narrating.
It's all noises and one narrator voiceover, and that's it.
The animation is also pretty superb, actually.
It's Disney animation, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same exact Disney animation you get with all other Disney things.
The Wikipedia, the two lone rivals are invited to the Van Tassel Halloween party where Brom tries to swap a plump woman for Katrina, but comically fails. But like that scene, like I didn't laugh out loud other than at my adult observations to this thing until that scene, because it goes on so much longer than you expect it to.
You should go find the video on YouTube that shows like the animation that was reused from or in this, right? Because that's what Disney did, is they just animated things once and then.
But there's not nearly as much, as far as I can tell, compared to like the Robin Hood.
Yeah, it was the Robin Hood Lion King one, right? Was the exact
Lion King.
not
No,
Lion
no,
King,
no,
Jungle
no, no.
Book.
Yep.
The Jungle Book Robin Hood, where it's like the exact same dance
Yep.
used twice. Yeah,
Multiple. Half that movie is just.
it's the same exact movie.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, if you are in the mood to watch a short Disney from the olden days, you should watch Mickey and the Beanstalk.
Yeah.
And if you're still in the mood, you should watch something else with Goofy in it.
Actually,
and then
my
if you're still in the mood,
my favorites are still all of the Goofy teaches you how to do a thing, like Goofy goes skiing.
you should watch some, you know, you can watch some Donald Duck or some Chip and Dale. But you know, this isn't a bad choice.
This is actually, I'd put it pretty high up there because it's very demonstrative of what Disney was like in that era, and it's a half hour long. And if you're really desperate, there's a whole other half hour with The Wind in the Willows that we just skipped.
Don't watch that garbage.
I don't know if I've ever actually seen it. I'm pretty sure as a kid, we never watched it. We just watched the Sleepy Hollow one.
I don't remember much, but I remember that was the Mr. Toad cartoon because I saw it because I was like, you know, there's Mr. Toad's Wild Ride at Disney World. And I was like, what the fuck is Mr. Toad? So then I saw that at some point, and I remember just being like, whoa, that is not good. I don't remember anything else other than that's not good.
All right, so yeah, Bing Crosby did play Ichabod Crane, Brom Bones, and the narrator whenever sound effects were needed. Let's see, Ratty, Thaddeus Toad, Mr. Winky. I'm just looking at all these people here. A guy named Pinto Colvig did one role. He played Ichabod Crane whenever he was screaming, apparently.
The Scream guy.
Pinto Colvig was a vaudeville act. Ooh, I found a bunch of Wikipedia pages to read. He lived until the
It
late
is
60s.
a somewhat vaudevillian act.
Yeah.
Right? This cartoon here.
The madcap antics while they're dancing. That would be a good like vaudeville stage scene, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was our Halloween. This and Attack the Block. Attack the Block isn't really relevant to Wednesday, but this certainly was.
Attack the Block is way better than this.
Yeah, it is. Definitely is. But I like this way more than you did for whatever reason. Like, I really enjoyed watching this again, partly because I hadn't seen it since I was a little kid.
I mean, I'm just comparing it to Mickey and the Beanstalk, and it's maybe slightly more than half as good.
Mickey and the Beanstalk is pretty good.
It's like A+. What are you talking about?
Well, you're just obsessed with Goofy and that Jello.
That's just the best part. That's like the the platinum frosting on the golden cake. It's like it's like, yeah, the platinum frosting tasted the best, but it's still fucking golden cake. So
I think we're done. That was easy. All right, let me do the Patreon thing really quick. Who's that coming down the street? Are they shovels or are they feet? Let's see. Patron manager. Yep, I will read that Squirrel Girl definitely by the next show. I'll read it all. That's fine. And the Patreon patrons, in order, the amount of money they give us on a continuing basis are Ellen Joyce, Rebecca Dunn, Nicholas Brando, Heidi McNichol, Amanda Duchette, Christian Kuntz, Construction Noises, Ivy Faye, MyStady.com, William Eisenrose, Jeremy Miner, Chris Reimer, and Thomas Hahn. Chris Hahn and Thomas Reimer. Shervin Von Horrell, Iggy Kid, Rura Lavelle, James David White, Rochelle Montanona, Superboy, Irish Wristwatch, Aaron Cerise, Brian Fisher, Sailor Vister, Jai Fried Pork, Matthew Smith, Don Schleich, Jar Tavish and Joe Joestar, Tyler Eller Shen, Sean Yeager, Sam Cordery, Clinton Walton, Run from New Zealand, Ryan Parent, Drew Openlander, Brian Cedrone, Finn Eric Silverall, The Rural Juror, Chris Midkiff, Chris Knox, Daniel Redmond, Sean Klein, Chris Reimer, and Thomas Hahn. And a whole shit ton of people who give less than $5 a month. All right, we